Hey, welcome to episode 3 of Day and Night. I'm your host, Daisan, and with me is my co-host.
Akane, hello. And then
Mix,
the next ones we've got is Mix. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Mixes. You can call me Mix.
And then Rising.
Hey everybody, I'm Rising. Big fan of Overlord and Master of the Dead, and thankful to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm
There
glad
we go.
everyone can make it. All right, let's dive right into this. So first of all, we'll be talking about global contest as always, and we'll be talking about the current event running is the Gehenna Plan.
Right.
Yeah, take it away.
To start things off with this event, personally, it's kind of the same as any of the other events. 2.5 million points, and you just get the standard rewards as usual. One thing I will say about this event, I haven't done it too much because when I host it on co-op, no one joins me. So I just can't be bothered to get the points if no one's joining me. And literally, I lag out of the game. I don't know if that's just me, but from experience, I don't feel like anyone joins me in the event.
It takes a while, but it's certainly doable. I'm currently at 2 million something points, so yeah, I can do it. I will say that it's like the event itself is pretty easy, as well as the event bonus units are actually pretty good. Like Evil Eye is on event bonus, so everyone brings 4 Evil Eyes ideally, and you just finish it in a couple minutes, in like less than a minute.
Yeah,
So not too far.
Yeah. I mean, the event itself has been, it's been all right. We've been several months now into global, and I think if I remember correctly, this one was about the same time frame in JP. So, I mean, we have a lot more powerful units comparatively to global, or compared to the JP at the time, I think it was. So, I mean, it hasn't been too bad, pretty easy, kind of to echo what both Akane and Mick said. But, the rewards have been okay too. Nothing out of the ordinary.
yeah. What was the relic again for this event? It was the basically warrior versus thingy one
Yeah.
we got from the lizard event. It's basically that, right? It's
Yeah,
the
it is.
Momon versus it's pretty much
but
that.
with 10% instead of 20%, so not quite as good, but
Yeah, not quite as good. Still pretty good for the people that missed the first one because I think we had quite a few new players from obviously collabs. So they probably weren't there for that first event. So I guess that kind of helps.
Mm-hmm.
But for players like most of us here, I'm not even going to bother with the relic. I might get one copy of it, but I've already got all the other relics I need maxed out. Like I just don't need that relic at all.
It's nice how just like how global made a lot of relics like non-ranking to get. That's one of the nice pluses globals have been doing. A lot more availability.
Yeah. What about the undead? I haven't actually tried it personally. I haven't even attempted it or even seen or heard about it. But what's the undead like on that? I'm assuming it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty easy. The only main risk point is that there's quite a few magic attackers as well as green units. So like NazarickFestival Beto is like not ideal for it, but it's not like super difficult. They don't hit as hard as, for example, Halloween Undead.
Yeah.
It's going to depend a lot on your team setup, I think. But generally speaking, if you got a pretty balanced team, I think I was even able to get past it without a healer, or maybe it was a tank. But I mean, it's nothing like if I compare it to the extreme, the undead for the final weapon swimsuit, much less stress, much less RNG involved. I think, in my opinion.
I still think swimsuit is like the hardest undead we ever had, and it's weird because that was like one of the first, like it was like the second undead.
That's probably why. I mean, when you think about it, we don't have nearly all the units that we had. Like back then, like at the time, I don't know if you guys saw, but like I done the swimsuit solution run with 4 of us, and we all used swimsuit solution and beat it. Obviously, that's just like game breaking.
Insane,
yeah. But like at the time, I can't really think of a unit that was like broken at that time. I think it was Nazarick Aura was like the broken unit we had. That was it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have Entomar, Shizu, and all these other really good single target damage dealers. We had like barely any units at the time.
And it was a 4 boss wave at the end, which is like something we see a lot even nowadays.
Yeah.
And with at least the final wave there with the Jaldabaoth, I don't remember because I know there's usually sometimes a difference between the actual in-game unit and the unit that you fight against. I don't remember if he has a shining weakness, but I mean you have plenty of heart units now that have shining damage. So I mean, that last wave when you're just against him, not too bad if you have a good enough composition, I think.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this also came with a raid, right?
Yep, that is
Um,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so this is a raid that didn't exist in JP, right?
No, we did not get raids till ReZero. So like all the older events, no raids. So that's something Global just jumped onto.
I had a few notes about the raid. So the shop for this raid is actually quite useful. In fact, I've heard some opinions say that it's the most useful shop we've had in a raid. Although nothing in there is limited, so it's all like stuff you can get from other sources. Like even the relic is the staff relic, which is general pool, but it's still one of the best relics you can get. So that's really useful. So like useful shop, but it's not limited, no exclusive. I noticed that the player counts for the rankings seem kind of low. It hovers around 1.5k. I wonder if that's just like people getting sick of raids and skipping them, or is the player count like really down recently?
Yeah, that's a
I'll-
good point.
Yeah, I would talk on behalf of that. I'm a player. I don't even bother with raids. Like, I've seen a
Mm.
shop for this one, and I thought back. I was like, damn, like this is good. I should really try on this one. I just don't enjoy raids. Like, I don't see any thrill in it for me personally. Like when I think of raids in games, like it's like a hard content, basically like Undead Mission, but with like a twist, if that makes sense. Like maybe there's 5 waves of enemies, or I don't know, when you start the game, your whole team is poisoned, and you got beat the game before you just die of poison. Like each round, you get more damage, something like that. Not
Mm.
just
Like
hit this
Undead with a
target
gimmick.
as hard as you can. Yeah, like that would be a raid to me. Not hit a boss for as hard as you can. Like that's
Mhm.
not a raid. That's a
Yeah.
world boss.
Yeah, that's like a
Um,
DPS
Yeah,
check.
it's basically like a training dummy that you just like grind over and over.
Yeah, but the shop, in my opinion, is really good. Like you get 2 of the 5-star crystals, which are really good for limit breaking. Although one of them is quite expensive for free to play players, I would say.
Mm.
You got the guild staff in there, which you can max limit break, so get that to 100. I have one level 100 and one level 90, so I was really thinking about getting this and getting it to 100, so that when or if I get into raids, I can have like a full magic damage raid team with pretty much the best relic for that. But then I thought about it again. I was like, you can use some of the other relics like Mighty Warrior and the Lizard Man one, or the one that we got from the event. So I've skipped on it overall.
I
Yeah.
think Mighty
Very good.
Warrior is the best in class like raid relic because of the crit rate, and you don't need a passive buff because you have a buffer in raids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this raid is really honestly best for probably newer players or kind of people who are just starting out, really. But I mean, anybody who's playing it probably can get something of value out of it. I mean, against Jaldabaoth, who's actually an int type and everything, has the not the full shining weakness, but at least the 50% extra damage I think it is for shining.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had plenty of heart units up to this point that are just absolute DPS monsters, whether that's Nazarick Aura, finally Perfect Warrior Momon's kind of got some use out of this. Technically, you can even do off color with Nazarick Entema and some of the other ones, but I mean, with the raid shop as it is, with getting that symbol of the guild, and it's only, I think the cheapest one I think is 1,000 if I remember correctly. So even for FTP players free to play, you can get that pretty easily, which I think is a big boost for DPS for your magic users. So I mean, and for players who've been playing for a while and haven't been able to limit break it, I mean, and there's a good shop is basically what I mean to say.
Yep. I've been hitting the raid pretty hard. I was having like a ranking battle with Mug last night. It definitely seems that the crit is definitely the way to go for the high scores. So physical teams with Lacus seem to dominate. Although now that we have Nentoma, I think like it seems like the best strategy is to have both Lacus and Nentoma. Nentoma can debuff once and then do 3 predators. That combined with the higher crit chance. So that's kind of good because that means you only need to have 2 other physical units that match the type to do like really good damage. Although I did see Naxi, I believe, got the highest score I've seen using Naz Solution, which is a unit that like I don't think anyone pulled.
Yeah, so people slept
Just
on that
because
one.
Yes.
she's not fantastic, but like she is the best poison damage dealer because that's such a rare element type. Yeah, so it's a fairly like standard raid, just except the boss does paralyzed. So like like 2 and 3 runs are just like a wash because one of your units get paralyzed.
Yes. I only messed around a little bit with the NAS solution, but I mean, from what I'd gathered with her, and correct me if I'm wrong, she kind of fills the same role that NAS Entoma does, where she has some decent DPS. Obviously, I would say Entoma is a little bit better in that respect, but she still has the debuff and the buff. So she's kind of like that. I don't know what you'd call it, like a a true support unit. Would that be kind of accurate to say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think
Yeah,
she's
Nazarick Entoma does big damage though. Like
Yeah.
Solution
Oh yeah,
doesn't do
for sure.
nearly as much. Like Entoma's like, well, at the moment, probably the best damage dealer in the game, up there
Yeah,
with
for
Shizu.
sure.
But like even on JP, she's still up there at the top. Nazarick Solution, as much as I love Solution, she's just not quite cutting the bread at the moment. But yeah, like it is, one of the more important things to have a unit that can do poison, especially when they take extra damage. Like the only other one I can think of is Neuronist. So unless someone wants to test out Neuronist, new meta, I'm down. But otherwise, Solution's the way forward for poison.
I think there's one aura unit that does poison damage, and
Yeah.
she's the best poison dealer, but we don't have her yet.
Yeah, we don't have it yet.
I noticed poison, thunder, and wind seem to be like the rarest elements, as in rarest in terms of units that actually do those element types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay. So since we're talking about units, what do you guys really think of the new mass Shalltear under Jaldabaoth in the banner? And then we can even talk about your impressions about Nazarick Loop, who is coming out tomorrow.
I think it's in a couple hours for me.
Yeah. This is like it's like 8 hours, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll start with the best one, which is Shalltear, because she is. Well, I feel like the main thing with her, I think I said this in Discord. Like, I feel like she should have been buffed, mainly because she's a banner unit. She's not a ranking event unit like she was on JP.
She was more of a trophy on JP than anything.
Yeah, but like now she's a banner unit. You're having to use paid currency or hard to get currency to receive over something you could grind out for. Like you could even just join co-op and stuff. So I feel like it should have been like some sort of buff, because she's a banner unit. But in terms of Shalltear, I feel like again, she's not really that good. She's literally just a collectible item right here. Like everyone would collect her. Like her healing is not good. Her 5 MP AoE, yeah, it's nice, but it's not good. Like very low elemental rate and a single target. Again, it's nothing about her is good. It's just she has a very versatile kit, but the damage, healing, and the abilities that she has are just not good. But the costs are, and the variety of skills she has, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like in terms of shining damage, like bloody Nazareth Shalltear is still the way to go. Shalltear is even though she's a healer class, she's an attacker with 6.5k attack and low percents on her 2 attack skills, and the mastery regeneration is not really a good heal.
Yeah, she's just a collectible unit, I think. Like people just summon for her because it's her.
One of my biggest problems with her too is, at least from a little bit of the testing I was doing with her, she also has really low HP for what she's kind of expected to do. Nothing like too damning or anything like that, but I want a little bit more, a little bit more survivability out of a unit like that generally. But I just kind of got to echo too. I mean, with regard to the cost, the MP costs for some of her abilities, just I'm not super sold on her.
Yeah.
I will say that she could fit in sort of like a niche team, like maybe like a team that focuses on regeneration, but you don't have like multiple regen relics. Just because, like, by sheer virtue that she's a better regen unit than Swim Lupus. But yeah, that's still not a great use case.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Mars Demi. Now, hate me all you want, but I can't say his name. Jabadolf, Jabal, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like Mars Demi over here. He's the main reason on the banners, like at the minute on global, that everyone's summoning for. And obviously Mars Shalltear's in that banner. But yeah, Mars Demi, I think, I personally don't even rate him that highly, personally. But I know his kit is good, but I don't rate him that highly, personally.
Yeah. So I do agree that he's good for the one skill that AOE triple debuff. I did make the case back when the previous tier list came out, but I do want to say that I would rate him currently as sort of more useful to the average player than Pandora's Actor. And it's just because of how useful having that triple debuff is. And I think I made the case that because like it debuffs all of the enemy's speed, defense, and attack, that can help bridge the gap with weaker teams or even units at advantage. Just because when you're building for hard content, the biggest threat you can face in hard content is like multiple waves of tough enemies that you can't like easily just clear out fast enough. And I think that like just having that AoE debuff makes him as good as PA in most circumstances, aside from raids, and like much better in multi-boss raids, especially waves, because Pandora's Actor's defense buff on his buff is actually a damage reduction and it doesn't stack. So I would say like Jaldabaoth is better for actual survivability.
My biggest problem, honestly, with him is just the banner, to be honest. I would not spend 4,000 gems on him, and only getting like technically a 50% shot between him and Masked White Lady. I mean, he gets added to the general pool, which, you know, a lot of players, at least to this point, who've been stockpiling their tickets, you know, just burn those if you really want him. 4,000, I don't know. It's a little much.
I'm 200 tickets and got like nothing good. But
that's true. I mean, I didn't have great either, but I mean, technically, if you continue to play the game, in theory, right, and that's kind of the
I was gonna say
double-edged. Yeah,
I only pulled one copy of him now in JP, and I've been playing from like the start of JP, and I've only gotten my first copy of Jaldabaoth.
Well, I mean, if that's true, would you want to spend 4,000 roughly on him?
Not
I don't know.
That's the game.
Yeah.
I'd still say it's a really good get for like a newer player, just because I find like AoE debuffing so useful.
Yeah, I think it's a good like as you said, a good get, but like if there was a newer player starting a game, I feel like I personally, and I don't know about other people, I wouldn't tell someone like, oh, summon for him. Like if you get him, that's good, but I wouldn't go like out of your way to get him at the early stages. I feel like this unit, like, yeah, he's a good unit for what he does and what he's meant to do, but I don't feel like anyone at all should go out of their way to get him personally. Like,
yeah,
I think what he does is just not as valuable as a lot of other units, especially when Nazarick Irons comes out and virtually does what he does.
Yeah, that is the thing, that he does get completely replaced by Naz. Yeah. And arguably there's other like AoE debuff units that you would replace him for.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Mars Demi. And then the last one is obviously Nazarick Loop, which I think that I don't know what really there is to say. The best healer in the game. Yeah, best healer in the game, and will be best healer in the game for a very long time on global. I don't know how you can get much better than that besides making 4 MP AoE heal and making the healing higher, stupid stuff like that. But I can't like imagine if or like maybe the passives could be better. That's it. Like regen passive or evasion passive. Yeah, that would make it like broken. But other than that, like you got an AoE damage dealing skill that heals the team, and then you got a single target healing skill as well. Good typing, good stats.
I don't think it's a good typing. For healers and tanks, it's not a good typing.
Yeah, I guess so. But regardless, she's got very good stats for a healer.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
Her
the best
AoE
one.
will do more damage than Mars Shalltear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rip.
Nice Shalltear.
I like her speed stat, honestly, for a healer.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, then that means you can generally, and of course it depends on the actual encounter or the battle you're in, but with a higher speed stat, that means you don't necessarily have to run the Momonga doll or some of the other ones
I
that would
still
increase
do.
speed.
I
Well,
still
I mean,
do.
yeah, there's still a use case for sure, but I mean, you wouldn't be necessarily, trapped into, well, I have to outspeed the enemies, right? So I do think that helps her out, and so you can toss something else on her that might be useful. I mean, still, the Momonga doll would be probably a pretty good choice for her, but at least you have options, is what I mean to say.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, in some JP content, like, if you give her a manga doll, like, she hits like 530, and then she's just barely outspeeding things, and that gets
Oh,
kind of
geez.
that
Oh,
gets
wow. Okay,
dicey.
yeah.
Yeah. JP's a cruel world.
We'll get to that later. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the state
wait,
of global then.
Wait. I wanted to say my piece.
Okay.
So I do have her as my main healer in JP, so I've got a bit of experience with her. She's definitely the best AoE healer. I know JP has better options in terms of single target, but just from the fact that there's so few AoE healers, and she can do both. And she does. She probably can fill the niche of like an offensive healer because she's got that 6.5 attacks, 0.6k. The only thing I will say is that people should look out for in the is that her single target heal has a damage reduction passive buff, but that's an advantage, so that will like overwrite, for example, PA's damage reduction on his party buff, or in the future, Gladiator Ainz's 4 stacks of shields, so that will overwrite. So just be careful using that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap up global about what you guys think of how the game is right now. You said that there was a really good raid shop, lots of good like rewards to redeem. So has things been kind of turning up?
I don't know, really. Personally, I feel
Yeah.
like the raid shop's good, but from what I'm aware, they've done something else. I haven't quite seen what it was, but I saw the Discord kind of complain, saying like, "Oh, here we go, they've done something else again. That's like really bad." Like I can't remember what it was. Something I don't know.
I still think people are reeling from the chaos field change, which, to be clear, like is JP is having the chaos field right now, which we'll get into, and that still gives stones, and in fact gives more stones than floors. I think it's like 1,800 because some of the higher floors give extra stones. So the fact that they seem to have completely cut down the amount of stones you get in chaos field and global kind of sucks, especially when there's like a couple of good banners this month.
Yeah, and even Mick said earlier that he's kind of observed the the kind of the player counts that we have in the raid, and I've kind of seen that as well. And with everything going on in the world, and with all these kind of expensive banners, and step ups have their place, of course. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see. I think the player base has definitely decreased since at least the beginning or the launch date. But with some of the better characters, obviously with like Nazloop coming out, I don't know. It's hard to say because I think there's some enticing things, some enticing characters, but is that really going to draw in players? Excuse me, especially when, as has been said multiple times, Chaos Field, which was a huge, a huge influx for Chaos Stones for most players, that's been entirely nixed, right? And it's been halved, I think, almost, right? Is it 520 now? I think it was.
Yeah, 520.
Yeah. And so it's tough to say. I think a lot of players are kind of seeing it as, for at least for the free to plays and maybe even some of the dolphins as they call them, right? I don't know if I'd say it's in a great place. Is it in a bad place? I don't know, but it's definitely tough. I mean, the main draw of the game is, of course, the characters, and the characters are expensive with the in-game currency, the Chaos Stones, and when you have fewer options to get those, you might start, having players starting to walk away a little bit, I think.
And it definitely looks like Crunchyroll is going pretty hard on the raids with like all these raids that JP didn't have. But yeah, as Akane says, it sort of seems like the participation numbers are lower, so maybe players are just like sick of raids because it is very repetitive, and if there's not any like limited like rewards, then some players will just, I don't know, get sick of them.
Yeah.
Especially since the bad precedent set by the Berserk raid, which had a raid unit in JP, so the fact that that wasn't in the Berserk raid kind of it's like that was the highest prize in raids to get a free unit. So the fact that the one chance to have that they didn't have that, it's so like, oh, our raid's gonna have worthwhile rewards going forward, other than just one exclusive relic.
You mean Zod wasn't popular enough?
It's a tank without a taunt skill.
Yeah, I think they just did it so that he gets like the tank stats, the healthy amount of defense and HP. Okay, well, I think that kind of wraps it up for what we think about global. So we'll move on to the JP side of the game. Right now, we are in the midst of the Shield Hero collab. We have the event, and then we also have the Chaos Field that is going on right now. So let's just talk about the event. Pretty standard mission, a bunch of stones, and then the undead is actually pretty spicy. So anyone have done it yet?
No, I'm not that good.
I probably could now. I've leveled my team up a bit better, but might still need to do some help in multi. I noticed like with the extreme event, like compared to global, I would say this extreme would be pretty difficult. But there's so much better units in JP. Like you always see, it's pretty common to see a team of Naz Irons to just like AOE spam everything to death.
Yeah, it takes 3 of them, and they do it pretty well. Okay, so pretty much like the undead this time, I'd say it's really fun because it's they give you Nazarick Shizu, Aura, and like 4-star Entoma, and it's like, okay, well, you gotta kill Shizu or she's gonna multi-hit you to death, and then like Entoma's there just to buff, and then Aura's there just to kind of be a nuisance. But easy first wave. Second wave is the same as the extreme. It's like Terrace and Glass, and that one's pretty also easy as well. But the issue is like does AoE spam, so you gotta like have an AoE healer to keep your levels up. And then last wave is Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Firo, and that one is super grindy because Naofumi is the best tank. That means he's like the worst boss to fight.
So I want to ask for the undead on the last wave, is the strat to kill Naofumi as much as possible, or to bring in like a bunch of AoE units to try to kill off Raphtalia? Because I know if like Raphtalia gets the negative hit debuff because she appears in Chaos Field and in the extreme, like that can be a big problem for your team when you can't hit anything.
Yeah, honestly, like I think both plans are viable. It's just that like I took a single target user, so I'm pretty sure I took Nazarick Shizu and then Nazarick Ainz, and it was just like a long like grind of like knock Naofumi's shield off, like chip him for a bit of damage, miss a bunch of attacks, chip his shield off again, and then you have like I use Nazarick Loop, and she's like keep everyone alive, and then of course I use Naofumi, so he's like keep everyone alive, and it was just like a really slow grind. But I think both strategies are viable. It's just that it feels worse if you bring an AoE person and they miss like with the AoE, especially if it's like 5 MP or whatever. So that kind of hurts. Things like Cheese's multi-hit I think is a bit nicer because unless you're super unlucky, like one of the 7 shots is gonna hit and they can like chip his shield off, do a bit of damage, and then all your eggs are in like one basket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only played the extreme mission to farm the points. I haven't got a strong enough unit to even get like freaking carried on the undead mission. But from what I'm aware, I've seen, I've heard that it's a bit of a pain in the butt to do that mission. It's not exactly most fun. Well, not most fun. It's like not exactly most easiest undead because of the multiple barriers you face in that last round. So, the minus hit, and then obviously the insane tankage, as well as I'm pretty sure he heals 17k or something like that.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh god.
He has a self heal for some reason, and like I said,
God.
it makes the grind like a lot longer.
Yeah, especially when you're missing the hits. But
yeah, it's brutal.
One thing I will say, like I don't know if we said it in the last podcast, but I do really like the fact that JP is only 500k to clear the shop or the points in the vents rather than 2.5 mil. It just feels like a grind you can actually do in peace rather than 2.5 mils, and you just sit there and you're just like, I don't know, you just don't enjoy it. Like, I don't at least.
Yeah.
I'm preferring JP more than global personally. But
I'm in that boat too. I
yeah.
was gonna say we can also talk about the chaos field. Mix is right. It is 1800 stones, just based off of 11, 12, 13, 10. All give you 50, and 14 and 50, 10 give you 100 on the last one. So that is a large amount of stones, like 4 times more than a global chaos field. Kind of.
I think like JP in global, sorry, in JP right now, it's a bit of like give and take where, yes, you could say the base 5-star rate is lower, but like as just looking at the recent banners, the rates have actually been more fair than global straight up banners, and like right now they're throwing out a lot of stones, so yeah, give and take.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've been really unlucky on the banners lately. Been doing a lot of 10 pulls, not a lot of 5-star units at all, or like 0 5-star units at all.
Yeah, I've only got Naofumi because I did the step up, and then the others haven't been lucky for.
Yeah, same.
Just on the chaos field, it is really interesting that is this the first time we've had a chaos field that's actually like a collab chaos field? So like they've got some.
I feel like I think like I think Day Live might have got one. They're not 100% like not correct, but like I think Day Live might have been a collab one as well.
Yeah, because it's really interesting, and also like it like changes things up. So I think that's like more incentive to do chaos field. I've been doing through the chaos field in JP. I've kind of been carried with my maxed out Naz Irons and almost maxed out Naofumi, carrying my like level 80 Naz Loop and level 90 Naz CZ.
Yeah, I was gonna say like your units are pretty good for like general JP hard content, because like you have like pretty sure like the almost exact same team that I run, so like you should be able to clear like everything.
Yeah, just because like my other attackers are like you're sitting around 90 or 80, but yeah, like Naz Irons and Naofumi are very hard like carry.
That's why they're SSS tier. That's why
Like
they're the poppers of JP.
Mm-hmm.
Now, forgive me. Obviously, I don't play JP, but so there's the chaos field's a little bit modified for the collab. Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I made a video about it. I think yesterday. But pretty much what happens is they've inserted Shalltear collab units onto the higher floors. So like normally at the end of like 1410 it's Irons, but now it's Irons and now for me. Same thing with PA at 1510, so it's him and Tiris, and then like other people on the other floors. So like Firo is in speed, and like Glass is in tech and all that.
Huh, interesting.
Yep.
Oh, I've heard 1510 is kind of brutal because Naz PA just spams the AoE status.
Yeah, no,
and
it's hilarious. It's hilarious. He spams I think like every second turn or something, and then just pray you don't get paralyzed, because if he gets a good paralysis, it just wipes a run.
Oof. Yeah, I think that's where like Raphtalia would be really good for the aim debuff, because I think that's all you really can do against an AoE status attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get a dodge. Yeah, well, yeah. I guess that's events.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think of the units? We've got 6 new units. We've all kind of used them now. We don't have max intimacy on any of them, because I think the soonest we can get that done is maybe I'm at 10 right now, so like maybe like 13 days or something. So
yeah, I think like everyone who plays JP definitely had to get Naofumi. It's kind of incredible to me just how game breaking he is. Because like all you need his cover max and his damage reduction max, and then like you cannot kill him. In terms of single target attacks, like you put a doll on him, he will always end the turn at full health. It's insane.
Yeah. I was gonna say like sometimes I'm afraid to put doll on him, because I feel dodging attacks is a bit more important. Because like some of the harder content you do get hammered a lot. So like if you don't have your reduction up, or like you did cast a shield and you just get beat on, you can get dropped down like 1k or like 2k range, and then you're kind of like risk with you only get like 800 HP the next turn.
Yeah, it is risky if there's a gap in you're having your shields up, but especially if you have stronger units to support that. Like as long as you have those shields up, you will not like you generally won't take enough damage, that will like more than what you'll heal from regen. So for me, I just like bring in a healer and just try to like minimize the risk on that gap turn if there is any.
Yeah, I feel like now Fumi, like a lot of us saw, like when you saw his skills and everything, like we all agreed he was like top tier with Nazarick Irons. Like he's the like, how can you get a better tank than that? I just don't know. Like if they is there a better tank than that, it is going to be even more game breaking. Like it's obvious, but like it'll be like game breaking to the point where like it's broken. Like this unit can carry. I've seen people like clear Chaos Field with like 2 units like level 100, which is like their main DPS and Naofumi, and that's it. That's all you need to clear a lot of the Chaos Field.
Yeah, that's pretty
But the one unit I want to know about, because I haven't actually used her, is Glass. Is her damage as big as what we all thought or not? I didn't actually get any info on that, but single target skill.
I saw Sith doing testing, and I think like accounting for intimacy, she does hit pretty hard. Although, no one actually knows how the elemental the elemental bonus rate that is on all the skills. No one knows how that's actually applied. So Sith was getting some widely variable numbers. I saw like when he was testing on the same enemy with his glass, he randomly get hits for like 22k or 27k. So yeah, she still hits really hard, although like because it's reliant on element and this elemental bonus rate that no one knows how to calculate exactly, it's like not quite as reliable as we say. But yeah, she is still like a massive powerhouse.
Yeah. Oh, I never got her. I tried to pull for her, never got any luck on her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it another go when she shares banner later. But let's I feel yeah, she's a good DPS unit, but like I'm not sure like we would ever have put her SSS or something like that.
Yeah, not SSS, but like, is she better than Slayer's Albedo? Another unit I don't have, but like there's 3 really powerful single target tech ice units, which is Mighty Warrior, Slayer's Albedo, and now Glass. So it's like, does Glass sit at the top of the food chain?
Yeah, she would. Like her damage stat is insane.
Yeah, once intimacy.
100.
Yeah.
And not only that, but her skill, although it's a lot more MP to use, it does more damage percentage wise. Plus the elemental rate is a lot higher as well. Like it's 100%, something like that. So yeah, like I could only imagine just going off the numbers alone, she's like pretty significantly better. Who else was there? Firo was. All the other ones are pretty much the same, to be honest. Besides Raphtalia, like with the hit down, all the other ones have like just 5 MP AOE. That's about it.
Yeah.
I will say though, I'm pretty sure Philo is like the best speed like elemental nuker because just because she's speed that does wind that focuses on wind damage, and there's like very few wind damage units, and there's very few like speed units that do either earth or speed or wind. So like she's actually the best speed attacker in terms of like the typing matchup to do like abyss and all that.
Yeah, it's nice. She's like the better like samurai demiurge for like the typing.
Yeah, the defense down as well. I think it was. I could be wrong. Or is that the other 2?
Oh, she does have defense down. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen her on a couple of abyss runs, and man, that AOE just like nukes everything. Gets weak to win.
Powerhouse. And she's fast as fuck, boy. I think she's the fastest unit in the game, no?
Yeah, she is. She's got 10% and like 459 plus 10%, and then that's pretty insane.
Pandora's active second, but
no, I think Raphtalia second. She also has the 10%, and she's 429, and Pandora's actor is like 430 something, but he has the 5%.
Red-haired guy has 440 speed, and he's got 10% passive.
Oh, like holy shit. Dude,
yeah,
shield hero, more like speed hero. What the fuck?
Yeah. You need to shield when you got speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'll be honest with you, all the other ones I didn't really have too much interest in. Raphtalia is pretty cool with the hit down, but that's about it. And everyone's gonna pull for her because she's like one of the main characters in the anime, so everyone wants her. Yeah, the red-haired dude and the blue-haired chick, I had no interest for them at all. They just look like crappier versions of Firo.
They're like AoE farmers with like.
Yeah.
Luke hits hard though. Luke has like 8k
dies
ish
fast.
strength. Oh yeah, no, he has like 6k HP. But like, it's a good farming
if you
unit.
got tank, it's pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah, like I'd throw Mighty Warrior, get those 10k farming swings.
Mhm. Yeah,
Would there
I will
be
say
sort of a use for Lark there? Because I mean, when I looked at him, I mean, he's kind of just seems like another power attacker. I mean, he's got the wind, which is a little bit rarer, but I mean, does he have like a use case in most for anything?
Nah.
well,
Just-
25% attack on that AoE. That's pretty useful as like a utility like attack as well, and the minus 15% on single target on minus 15% defense. So yeah, he's maybe not the top tier like sort of AoE unit, but like that's just quite a strong kit.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say like Raphtalia, looking at her, she's not really capable of much damage, but having faced Raphtalia in like the event and in Chaos Field, like that -4 hit can be pretty useful, especially if you're facing an AoE status enemy.
Yeah.
So I think like could be worth running just for that.
That's like when I do those like swimsuit solution runs on co-op, that's like that. Because like we all use taunt on first turn, so that's 4 evasions down.
You could like
can we get 4 Raphtalia teams? Just no one hits anything, or the enemy doesn't hit anything.
that's hilarious, but like the fall off is after the second Raphtalia hits down, like the statistic of hit falls off a cliff. So it's like plus like you've got no heal off overdrive, so like you're kind of in like trouble town.
Yeah, but you'd only need to use 2. Like if you had 4 of them on co-op, rather than having to time your taunts with solution, you could literally just use 2 of them turn 1, then the other 2 attack, and then you all attack, and then you all attack, and then the other 2 use the taunt. Like
That would go away.
yeah, and you'd have 8 each time, not 4. No, the most you can get with that run, unless you just everyone's taunting at the same time, is like we have like 6 stacks at one given time, but that's only for 1 round. You have 8 for a whole 3 turns in a row, so it'll work out a little bit better. But obviously, you ain't got the self healing skill unless you have like Momongador or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then let's not forget our boy Gazef.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was a new unit.
Yeah.
yeah. I have met a few in the multiplayer lobbies. He does hit pretty hard.
Yep. Good, solid.
I got carried. Yeah, I got carried in one of my extreme runs by Gazef, who is also a Gazef fan in the Discord. You know who he is. Yeah, he carried me in one of the extreme runs with Gazef. I was like, damn, that hits hard, and he's just not dying.
It's nice, like self-sustain, really strong single target. I say good typing.
That's totally greatsword. It's totally the Moonlight Greatsword from Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just glad that they didn't mess his kit up, make him like trash tier.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Are there many other units aside from him that have the 10% regen?
I could probably name all of them off the top of my head. It's like
go for it.
Let's go. Yeah, go, Dazi.
Okay, so there's like Rem, there's Zeshi, there's Kotori, Gazef.
Halloween Solution.
Short list.
Oh yeah, that's new. That Halloween Solution as well.
I was trying to call him out on it as well, but I can't think of anyone. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know anyone else.
You can make a full team of this like regen scumming, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
All of them have like sadistic eyes, so you have base evasion and heal regen, and then it just makes it a much safer
environment.
Yeah, especially if you actually have solution, because then you have a tank, you have a healer, you have DPS. It's it's really solid. I think with that kind of team, like there's a lot like bigger margin of error you can get away with stuff. It'll be a bit slower because you don't have offensive relics, but like you'll be like super safe.
Yeah, I think if Naofumi didn't exist, I would make the argument that Halloween Solution could be the best tank. Because thinking about it, like Naz-Yuri only gives +1 evasion and 10% damage reduction, which is like a replaceable with a good buffer. So yeah, just like having a tank with like 9k HP and a self heal and regen, like you don't even have to run a healer at that point, which is like a team comp I do in global. But then now Fumi came in, and now every tank is redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rest
pretty
in
much.
peace, man.
Apart from OG Sebas. OG Sebas is still pretty good.
Oh yeah, 15%.
Why are you laughing? He's really good.
Yeah. Just to finish off the collab units, I think it's kind of insane that for this collab we get 6 units, and like almost all of them are range from either like really strong powerhouses to completely game breaking. So like I just wonder, like they have to power creep this, otherwise you will be locking away some of the best units of the game as a collab that probably doesn't repeat. Like they have to introduce more tanks with cover, because I can't imagine they would keep one of the most game breaking units in the game a collab only unit.
I feel like the next broken unit we'll get is a healer. We've got Iron's Enhancer. I feel like they believe that some of the single target attacker units that we have are game breaking as well. But like Nazarick Shizu, for example, but I wouldn't consider Nazarick Shizu game breaking. And they probably think Nazarick Loop is like a game breaking healer, but
yeah, they could
be a game breaking unit in your specific role. So attacker and healer is what we're missing now. We've got an enhancer, which is Irons, and we've got a tank, which is now Fumi. You have to be like in that top tier with them two minimum.
I bet they'll add something crazy like, oh, this healer can buff your units with revive, full heal revives or something.
I'm telling you,
like
second year anniversary, it's coming.
I wouldn't mind like a guts buff, kind of like it's like an FGO term. But it's like when you go down, you come back up with a set amount of HP. I wouldn't mind that kind of buff. Just like what Guts actually has on the collab, where like courage, I think. So like he takes a hit, it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got Guts in global, and I've got an account with him in JP, and it's good, but it's pretty funny where like if you die and there's multiple enemies, it's like you die, you revive, another enemy sneezes on you, and you die again.
Yeah, that's hilarious and kind of rough. But it's probably good against AoE stuff where like you do have a Naofumi, but like Guts gets chipped and then he does go down, but Naofumi can still cover him. If you
I feel like a pretty cool buff that you could do on him is when he dies, he comes back alive with 1 HP like he normally does, but he has a taunt where all the enemies hit him that turn, but he doesn't die from any of the hits. So like when he gets revived, he doesn't die for like 4 hits.
Yeah, it would be really good if that buff lasts for the whole turn that it activates. So like he cannot die the entire turn. That would be good.
And then like you keep him alive at the end with 1 HP. So if hopefully they don't attack him that turn, but like yeah, that would be quite cool.
On that thought, like it's kind of I just thinking about it. The one thing that JP doesn't have that like it's kind of weird. We should have more like status healers, because I think the only one we do have is Yukata Solution, who can heal paralysis. But like, why isn't there more healers that can just heal all ailments?
I think on the beta of Lacus, she used to heal Seal, the summer Lacus, but like they got rid of that. But it's just, I think a lot of people would be dissatisfied because you can't make it as strong as like a regular heal, and it would be like super like more niche. But
people say that until they get another like Cautious Hero Undead where everyone is getting status.
But what happens if like your status healer gets sealed, right? Doesn't that seem like a slap in the face?
But at least that one you could sort of plan around, sort of like you can give her a relic that resists status, depending on what you know you're going up against. And I don't know, maybe they could give that healer like a passive that gives her innate status resistance.
That'd be like a waste of a passive slot, unless like they slapped like something nice on top of it as well.
It's like a niche unit, but one that is super valuable if you do need to pull out.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that kind of wraps out our unit discussion. And then since we have 2 people here who also play JP, what's your impressions now? You guys been playing for a while, running through events, grabbing Chaos Stones. What do you think?
I mean, I haven't played it too much, but same as the last video, like the login bonus and all the stuff that you get for starting off the game, up to where I am now, and like just playing the game, is so much better. JP content, like so much better. Like the only downfall I feel like personally is the rates on banners. It might just be me being a bit, salty that I've done so many multi summons and I just get nothing. Like the only reason why I got an Alphium is because I saved up 4,000 stones to get him. After that, I got nothing.
Yeah,
Like not a single 5-star unit or character, relic or character.
I feel you, man.
But other than that,
Yeah.
I'm happy with everything in JP. I don't really, like I said, the only thing I could see them improving and that I would really like. And this would go for global as well, but if they were to do it, it'd be on JP first, is to add something like guilds or, like I said, a raid, but an actual raid. Like not just attack this boss. Like the easiest example I could say is like what we said in the last one, where it's like you get like a team of like 10 units and you have to survive 30 waves, each wave getting harder. Every 10 waves you get like a boss, like a big boss, like a raid boss, right? Like the giant dragons or something like that. And when you get to the end, you get, I don't know, a 7-colored crystal for 5-star units, like a bunch of currency for that specific mode where you can buy like a relic character or something like that, or tickets, like a 5-star unit ticket, something that's like really hard content. When you clear it, you get rewarded very highly, and it comes like once a month. That would be something I would like, but that's too generous.
Yeah, I think as I said earlier, my thoughts on JP, that it's definitely give and take. Like the to me, like the two worst things about JP that you can't really get around is that the base 5-star rate is lower. It's like 2% versus 3% on global, and definitely like grinding for materials is more difficult because there's the much more smaller windows on strengthen. There's only like 1 hour windows and they come like 4 times a day, I think. So that's definitely hard to get around, but as you see, it comes with other things. So there's the more variety in content. Generally, it looks it's they kind of like a bit more generous in like the event shops, because if I'm to understand that in a recent event they gave out a 5-star unit, even if they were a general pool unit, that's still like a pretty generous thing.
They gave out 2.
We haven't seen. Yeah, they gave out 2. So like we haven't seen anything in global be that generous. So there's that. And also, like around the time that Global got rid of 1% banners and their max rate up is now 0.5%, JP has been getting banners with like 0.75% rate up, and even like with the Naz Irons banner that recently left, that was a 1% Naz Irons banner, and we just don't see that in Global anymore. If anything, we've seen the rates get worse in Global. Like there was 0.4% on the Global's Halloween banner, so it's kind of like there's a lower base rate but a higher rate up, so a higher chance to get what you want, even though it's a lower chance to get anything useful. And like personally, like if I pull on a banner, it's for the featured unit, so I would trade the lower base rate for a higher chance to get what I want. Especially when JP is also like it has all these different kinds of banners to cater for specific units. Like they've got the step ups, they've got individual rate ups, that sort of thing. So I think like right now JP is setting itself up to be like a much more promising sort of flavor of the game, and it's not something you can just discount and say, oh, it's different from global, because like anyone can install JP and start playing, and once you've played global, you know how to play JP because like the basic functions are the same.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like Crunchyroll better step up.
Yeah. One thing I will say that I quite like is the buffing the units. That I think that's pretty cool. As long as they're not stupid buffs like 10 speed and that's it. But like actual buffs, like game changing buffs, are quite cool. But I feel like what they should do is just show that they're like listening to the community and like maybe have polls like which unit would you guys want to see, next, and like maybe like there's like they buff 5 units every month or something like that, right? But the main unit, they'll have like one Nazarick unit that they buff each month, and then they give like a poll. So it'll be like, what unit of the Nazaricks would you want to have buffed out of these ones? And then the community would vote, and then the other 4 would be like you find out on the day, sort of thing. I feel like something like that would be quite cool. But again, it's just asking for too much. Like I don't think they communicated that much with the players, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think we allowed like a bit more open communication with Crunchyroll and that. But I just want to ask Rising, what do you think of anything you've heard about JP? Just
I mean, with JP, I think it's interesting, right? Because I think obviously, as I said a little bit earlier, with this game, I think obviously the main draw is the IP in of itself, right? What you're going to play for is the characters. With that said, JP of course offers many more characters, a lot more collabs, at least at this time, right? So with that said, I think JP does definitely attract, if you really want to play or play with a certain collab that we don't have in global, yeah, I think JP is a way to go. But for your average person who's just kind of playing 5-10 minutes 20 minutes a day or whatever it may be, I think it might be a little bit asking a little bit much, to get blue stacks or Nox or any of these players to get the was it QAP, I think it is. I just don't see the average sort of player, casual player, we'll say, to do that. So I guess what I'm trying to ultimately say is, JP is definitely more for the hardcore player, right? And of course the language barrier too is another thing. So that's sort of my thoughts thus far on JP. Yeah,
I agree.
okay, I think
Yeah,
that
right.
about wraps it up. Thank you all for coming, and hopefully see you again in the future podcasts. And thank you all for listening and or watching this. And that's it. Peace.
When would be the next one?
The next one is always 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 Saturdays
Cool.
from now, 28th.
Nice.
thank you so much. Pleasure talking with you all.
Yeah, thanks for having me.